I had razor blades pushed into my wrists and screaming at the mirror, crying my eyes out in the bathroom. Just do it. You're a fucking pussy. Just fucking, you can't even kill yourself. You know, and on the edge of a really high building, like tippy-toeing over the edge, mate.
And what do you think was driving those behaviors of drinking and, you know, sleeping around?
I've decided my higher self, my most optimistic, using your imagination self, like your most positive imagination, would want world peace. And I thought, you know what? I'm just going to try and build world peace. Why I've never even considered world peace before. In fact, why aren't we living in world peace? I felt and seen the darkest sides of alcohol. It's a black magic spell, mate. That's why I'm looking to address it, because I've seen and experienced, bro, when you're saying you do the worst things on alcohol. I've done the worst things in my life as a man on alcohol that I'm very embarrassed of. We're at a choice point, mate. And we've got the potential to create world peace now, mate. With the launch of AI, it can work now, bro. Imagine if I found a magic lamp on this beach and I rubbed it and a genie came out, and I definitely knew, wait, that's a genie, that. And the genie says, right, you've got one wish, what do you want it to be?
What was that wish? Anthony.
Sam.
Great to have you here, buddy.
Thank you, my friend. It's nice to be here with you, mate.
Yeah, man. So we'll dive straight into you're a health coach and also vegan. Like, why did you make that change to be vegan?
I didn't intend to become a health coach as such, but as a man growing up, a younger man growing up, I got taught and ultimately obsessed with just trying to make money, you know, becoming a businessman. You know, that's what I learned at school. You get a job, then get a better job, and then get a better job. It's what my mom and dad were encouraging me. It's what all my friends were doing like showing me and doing the same thing. It's what I saw on television over and over again. It's what I thought life was about, was getting a job and making money and making more money and making more money. And I'd done that, and I actually done really well in it. But in the process of it, I ended up at the age of 30 with suicidal depression, because I didn't look after my body in the slightest in the process, or even consider the health of my body. So ultimately, upon reflection, what I realized was happening to me is I was getting unhealthier and unhealthier week by week. Ultimately, my entire life, I'd never been a healthy human for 1 week in my entire life. And at the age of 30, that caught up with me, and I manifested suicidal depression, which in the process of that, there was actually warning signs all throughout the way. Suicidal depression didn't just happen. That was the end of the game, baddie, where I was going the wrong way. So for me, it started off with, I started getting hangovers. You know, that was one of the big warning signs that I realized my body was communicating with me. That's what a hangover is, your body communicating with you, saying, I didn't like that, please listen to me. And people don't listen to hangovers. They usually actually laugh them off. And I didn't listen to that. Then a year later, I started getting quite bad anxiety. You know, really, like, it feels like a strong nervousness in the heart that makes you feel really uncomfortable, and you don't know what to do. And that was a progression. A year later, I started getting bad depression, where I started feeling really down a lot and sad a lot and having negative outlook on life a lot, like regularly. And that's another warning sign from the body, and I didn't listen to that. And then a year later, at the age of 29, 30, I got suicidal depression, which when I look back, there was a yearly downward momentum of each of them, which got worse and worse and harder to live with. So at the age of 30, I was like, oh my God, why is this happening to me? I'm making a lot of money, mate. I was making 20, 30 grand a month doing parties with alcohol. That's what I used to do for a living, and modeling for a world-renowned model agency called Storm. They were my two jobs that actually went together very nicely. Storm modeling, running the party, and I got loads of models coming to my party. My parties went really well, bro, but they were alcohol, so I was a party animal. And I used to eat food just for the intention of protein. My only reason is like, what's this food? It was like, how much protein's in this food? And that's not a healthy way to eat. I didn't realize that then. I thought it was healthy because that's what Men's Health sold us, and what all other men trying to get big muscles think about and actually still talk about to me quite regularly is where do you get your protein from? The first question when we talk about food is, where do you get your protein from? There's an obsession on a really toxic level with protein. But that's what I used to look at food as. So I wasn't really looking at nutrition and health and the positive impact the food, like where did the food come from? It was just how much protein that food got in it. Late nights partying, and then having meaningless sex with women, and just drunk sex, basically, you know, went hand in hand with my lifestyle, were the things that I think largely contributed to me getting suicidal depression at the age of 30, where I literally nearly killed myself. I had razor blades pushed into my wrists and screaming at the mirror, crying my eyes out in the bathroom. Just do it. you're a fucking pussy. Just fucking, you can't even kill yourself. You know, and on the edge of a really high building, like tippy-toeing over the edge, mate. And come on, it's time. It's time. And then all of a sudden I'll have this snapback. What am I doing? Like kind of like a moment like, why am I here? What's going on with me? There's something really wrong here. You know, and like when I was in it, it wasn't always obvious. But then all of a sudden when I was in it, sometimes it'd be like, got money. I've got good friends. I've got a good family. You know, why do I feel so bad? And it was quite obvious at one point, you know, of like going through this for a while. It was like, well, you're not looking after your body. You know, so at the age of 30, I paused my job in England. I paused my businesses. I paused my life, and I went traveling the world. And I purposefully escaped alcohol, mate, and that lifestyle. I realized like it was the trigger for nearly all of it was alcohol and going out and getting drunk, you know, at the weekend with the sleepless nights and eating shit food and not being bothered about the food I ate, you know. So I went traveling the world then and went in places where there was just no alcohol around, mate. And that actually changed my life. And that became a 2-year journey traveling, mate, where I largely traveled and went to some really cool but really cheap places, mate. I wasn't living like a luxury. I was living on little islands in the in Cambodia, in the middle of the sea, where the only thing on the island was one small, like simple little cafe and 10 little beach huts. You know, and in the beach huts there was a mattress on the floor, no cupboard, nowhere to put your clothes, just a mattress on the floor, and that was it. And I like was away from society. I was away from alcohol. I was away from influences, and I started processing my own life. You know, and to be honest with you, it was really obvious, mate, where all this negative stuff had come from, this negative timeline that I walked. It was really obvious. And I was thinking, well, if I'm not here to make money and chase women, which is what I've been programmed, which I didn't know the word programmed at that point, but which is what I'd been taught is what life's about, is making money and chasing women, because that's what all men in the Western world are pretty much doing. You know, trying to get one of them two outcomes is another woman or more money. And even them two things are closely related. You want more money to get more women? Sometimes, you know, that's closely related. I thought, well, what's life about? You know? And it came through almost like an epiphany moment, mate. Well, what if I'm not going to chase money and chase women? What am I going to do with my life? Like, what other thing is there? And it's quite interesting, actually, how I actually came through, because it was kind of a weird thought process. I says, right, if I had one wish, you know, if I found a lamp, I was living on a place called Bamboo Island when I had the thought process, that little island I just talked about. It was tiny, mate. You could walk from one side to the other in 5 minutes. There was nothing on it but wildlife, trees, basic beach huts, like a garden shed it looked like, mate. Garden shed where the mice are running over you at night time, mate. There was mice in your room and you just had to fucking put up with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And my bag was my pillow with my rucksack I traveled with was my pillow with all my clothes, and I pulled out whatever I needed every day and put it back. And that the room was basic. There was one cap, and I loved it, bro. I lived there for like 2 or 3 weeks, and I was using logs as a gym, rocks, you know, running up and down the beach. I watched the sunrise every day, sunset every night. All I could see in every direction was not a car, not a building, was nature. I was in nature 100%, mate, fully immersed in nature. And I was out at sea, so there wasn't even any car fumes nearby me for miles. So I was vibrating on nature frequency, mate, for probably the first time in my life on that level, like continuously training, loving it, eating loads of fruit. There was only just fruit at the cafe. And I thought, imagine if I found a magic lamp on this beach and I rubbed it and a genie came out, right? And I definitely knew, wait, that's a genie, that. And the genie says, right, you've got one wish. What do you want it to be? And I thought, I've definitely got a wish. Yeah, that's a genie. This is going to come true. I thought, well, what would my wish be? You know, what would I want to achieve? What would I want to create?
What was that wish?
So this is how I come up to how I live now, mate. I thought, well, I'd want loads of money for myself. Now, wait a minute. If it's a wish, I'd want loads of money for fucking everyone. Why just me? Why not the whole world? And I thought, yeah, I could do that for everyone. I thought, well, not even just me. Why couldn't I just, and the humans, why couldn't I just create a better world for everything, the animals as well? And I started thinking, well, that would be world peace. You know, what I'm describing here is like heaven. And I thought, right, well, I've decided my highest self, my most optimistic, using your imagination self, like your most positive imagination, would want world peace. And I thought, you know what? I'm just going to try and build world peace. That's what I'm going to try and do now. I thought, well, that's a beautiful thing. And I thought, well, why haven't I ever had this thought before? Why have I never even considered world peace before? In fact, why aren't we living in world peace? And this whole world peace timeline just came through my being, bro. And then I locked into it, and I thought, actually, that's why we've all been sent to the planet. Like, I felt that's an amazing idea. And I thought it's going to be hard. Making £1 million is easier than creating world peace, because,
Yeah, of course.
so I thought, well, if this is what I'm committing my life to now, which I knew I was going to, I was like, this is going to be the hardest thing I've ever done in my entire life. And I was like, well, the only reason I wouldn't do that now is fear. And I was having this dialogue with myself, and every turn I got to, I thought, I've got to do it. Yeah, I've got to do it. And I was checking myself and looking in it. And once it came into me, I couldn't back down from it, because I thought, I know that's there now. And I actually think it's why we've been sent to the planet. Like, our highest calling, our biggest test as an individual, and as a species, bro. I really believe it's why we've been sent to this planet on the highest level, as for us all to come together as the family that we are, as brothers and sisters, and create a global system that works for everyone, mate, which is actually really easy to do. People say to me, that's really hard, that. I'm like, you know what's hard? Building a nuclear bomb's hard. Building a tank's hard. Building a satellite and firing it up into space to guide that missile from 3,000 miles away at hypersonic speeds to land on that one penny, that one laser beam mark, is really hard to do. We've gone in a direction extremely hard on the way of destruction and killing each other and war and not world peace. Just stopping doing that and having a good time with each other is a lot easier to do than that.
So what do you think blocks people from world peace? Well,
this is what I've been talking about with the programming and the conditioning. We're living in a world at the minute currently where we're still in a tribalistic mindset, and it's evolved from tribes, where tribes found each other, and some tribes would have been friends, but some tribes would have been scared of each other and just fought. We're still living in sort of like caveman evolution mindset, survival mindset, and that's progressed throughout time so far now that there's just been a bunch of people at some point that's got a little bit ahead of the game through aggression and through survival of the fittest and through dog-eat-dog attitude. Like, I'll do what I'll do what I've got to do to get to the top, which the whole business world that we're currently living in is predominantly that energy, mate. It's predominantly like, I've got to do what I can. All businesses don't care about killing off other businesses. They want to kill the competitors so they get above it. The whole business model that we're currently operating on planet Earth is profit at the top. It doesn't care what it's got to do to get the profit, even so much so where some of the profit is bombing children and ripping rainforests down to make more burgers or to make more money for them 20 shareholders. The profit model that we've currently got a business, which is a kind of a natural progression of the barter system. I can understand how the barter system came around, and then the money system on top of that. Then beyond that, the current industrial system that we've got, then it's just got way out of control, mate, and with greed at the top of it. And it's the programming within that where some mega rich people, mate, have succeeded in getting to the top of the business world quite a long time ago, maybe it's 100 years ago, and they've been able to operate together knowing they've got pretty much most of the world's resources and monies, and they've got like media in the back pocket, they own the armies, they own the schools, they own the food industries, they literally affect and influence everyone's life on planet Earth a lot, that they live by. We want to stay at the top, and we'll do anything to stay at the top. And that attitude's become really toxic now, where because the technology got so advanced now, that attitude in people's lives, because it's not just them, it's the general man thinks that way too, mate. Like, most people are bothered mostly about profit and just looking after themselves and their own life, which isn't a bad thing. It's absolutely essential, but we've got to start considering also the impact we're having on other people and the world itself, the planet. But we're not thinking about that at the minute. So people are so obsessed with making money, and we've created a system that teaches people money, 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 money. Most people are operating for how much money can I make? And then I've got one house, can I get 5 houses? Right, I've got 5 houses, can I get 10 houses? Right, and that's a beautiful thing. But like, is that the only thing you're doing? Because if that's the only thing you're doing, it's actually toxic on the planet itself. We've created a world where people are just doing toxic things just to get themselves ahead of the game. I'm going to go quite harsh here, mate, and it's not often I say this one, but I'm just going to, because this is where the conversation's led. There's two ways, ultimately, when you break down how humans are, there's two ways to operate on planet Earth. One's called Christ consciousness, and what that consciousness is do to others what you want done to yourself. So you treat all others how you hope they treat you. So naturally within that realm, you want to be nice and peaceful and loving and caring to all others and to nature and to the animals, knowing that will come back to you. Another word for that's karma. the other way, mate, which is actually a satanic mindset. This is what the satanic religion is do what thou will, which is you do what you've got to do to get ahead of the game. That's Darwinism. It's like a dog-eat-dog world. Survival of the fittest is Darwinism. You do what you've got to be the fittest because everyone else is trying to be the fittest. And that's actually a satanic mindset when you look at Christ consciousness and what's satanic in the satanic religion, what it actually is. So you're either operating ultimately from like you're doing things to try and benefit yourself and other people. You don't negate yourself in this situation. It's yourself and other people and the world. Or you're just doing things just to benefit yourself. And largely, unfortunately, mate, in business in the world, when you look at it, mate, people are largely doing things just to benefit themselves. And that's being influenced, you know, by higher realms with intention, because that separates and divides us all, mate. So, yeah.
So what energies do you think are behind that?
I think the dualistic energies of this reality that I'm talking about of good and bad runs through the heart of all man. You know, I feel like we've all done really good, positive things in our life, and we've all been harsh and not so nice in our life and being a dickhead. You know, I've done out of order things that I couldn't even imagine doing now. You know, I've done out of order things when I was a younger man. You've got to learn from that stuff. But what I think of the greater opportunity, and it's time now, is we can now look back in the history of mankind efficiently on our phones, all of us, and we can look at on the lessons for not only of our own life, but of every man, woman, and collective fucking nation or whatever, or religion that's ever walked through the history of mankind. So now we all need to come together, you know, and say, well, what negative energies, what was good and what was bad? And what I can say things like, the words like, well, all war's bad. Really, no war's really good. Do you know what I mean? Really, when there's fucking death of children and bombs getting dropped on and people's arms getting blown off and horrific injuries and innocent people getting slaughtered left, right, and center. We can look back in the history of war and just go, well, we can just get rid of all war now. You know, what we've got an opportunity to now is to evolve into a completely new species that we've never been before. You know, so when people say, oh, yeah, well, we've always been cavemen, you know, this passes over into the why I'm a vegan. You know, I say, yeah, I understand. We used to have to eat meat because of the way the world was, but the world's completely different now. The world's evolved, and it's time for us in our intention and action and understanding of who we are and what we're here to do can completely evolve and become something we've never become before. You know, we've got to evolve. It's not like, well, we'll go back to doing what we just did then because we've always did it. You know, just because we've always did something doesn't mean to say it's the best way. And now we've got an opportunity to truly reflect and say, actually, what is the best way? What will work for me, like myself, and everybody else? And actually, let's not forget all the animals and actually all the nature, you know, because that's possible. And that's how we create world peace, and that's how we create heaven on earth. And I think that's our highest calling. And I think we're at that choice point now as a species, you know, where and we all sense it, mate. We all know it. That's why these conversations are happening. You know, there's a very prevalent dark bunch of leaders on the planet that do horrific things. And that can be easily seen now. With the pandemic makes it even obvious, mate. But it's actually obvious if you dig a little bit before the pandemic. It's actually obvious all the time because they've got to do such bad, negative things. It's really obvious if you dig down a little bit and actually use your common sense. You know, so there's really bad things going on in the world. And because of technology where it's at now, if we don't check this now, mate, the next step we could be facing on the two more negative path lines when I'm looking like that. One is absolute global tyranny where we're fully controlled and we can do nothing about it, where we get forced microchipped, you know, and there's drones flying around with face recognition technology and either guns on them or just an off switch where they just switch you off, mate, or lock you in your house. You know, that's there now, mate. That's a year away. Further than that, we could be facing global extinction, mate, where 1 or 2 nuclear bombs go off or atomic bombs go off. It's game over, mate. That's just game over, you know, and that's talked about every day now. And that's there. And the fact we've got 75,000 nuclear bombs, whether we use it or not, the amount of energy, money, and manpower that's gone in that is, I'm saying, well, even if we don't use them, it's evidence that we're walking down the wrong path too hard, too fast now when we've got children starving to death every day. 30,000 people starve to death every day. 15,000 children starve to death every single day and have for 60 years, mate. And yet we're still building nuclear bombs with the billions and billions and trillions that makes. Shows that the way we're thinking is just wrong, mate. We can do much better than that, you know? So the fact we've got technology here now, but on the other choice point, mate, what I'm saying is right here, right now, mate, is world peace. You know, changing the system where we've all got a house Everyone's assigned one house and you get to choose it, and it can be basic. I don't need a mansion, bro. I just need a nice bed with a nice sofa. That'll do me, as long as it's got a bit of nature around. That's what I would choose. Someone might choose it in a city. We've got enough buildings now, and if we haven't got enough buildings, we could build, because instead of building the nuclear bombs and the Apache helicopters and the carrier ships and the satellites and all that stuff, build a little house for everyone. Make sure they've got a bit of food going to the house every week, which you can do quite easily. Make sure they've got clean water, and that's everyone's start point. We'll just sort that now. You know what I mean? We can create heaven on earth, and then instead of building nuclear bombs, and all the destructive technologies which are prolific because of the industrial military complex, which America spends trillions every year. One country spends every year on weapons to destroy and kill people. Instead of using technology to destroy, use technology to heal, technology to love, technology to entertain, technology to transport, infuse technology with love instead of destruction. And if we had 8 billion people pushing in the same direction of the betterment of mankind and technology to fully support that, that's heaven, bro. And it's actually really easy to do. And I think that's the calling of what's going on right now with all this, oh shit, what the hell's going on? There's a fluctuation energy where it's like all this amazing, crazy, bad and good and positive and exciting stuff's happening. And the bubble's about to burst, bro, and a new bubble's about to begin. And we're going down that plug hole now, mate. And we're at the point where we're just about to go down the plug hole, bro. And then we'll come out the other side. And where we come out depends on every single one of our actions contributing to that every day. And I'm anchoring in world peace energy, mate. Every day I stand for love and world peace, and I picture what would heaven look like. What would heaven look like? And what would I look like? What would I eat in heaven? What would I do in heaven? How would heaven be? And I anchor that to the planet now through my action. So I'm bringing heaven's energies through intention, through thinking about it, the intention of it, and then doing stuff every day in alignment with what I've just imagined heaven would look like. And therefore I'm bringing it through. So I'm bringing the world peace direction through, mate. And I believe that's all of our highest calling. I believe that's the ultimate computer game of why we've all been sent to this planet. And everything else is a distraction to lead you away from that, to try and keep you locked into a frequency where you can be easily controlled, easily manipulated, easily programmed, which is why we're being kept away from it. So you ask, like, why are people thinking this way? Like, or a lot of the food people are eating every day, mate, is really shit, toxic food. That's not even food, it's technology. That's made with the intention to get in people's body to lower the frequency. In the Western world, if you think in the news agents, how common news agents are, they're within 200 meters of every estate. And it's not just England, everywhere around the world, there'll always be like a news agent shop where they'll sell crisps, cigarettes, alcohol, pop, chocolate bars, and you go in, there's not just one chocolate bar, there's like 40 different types of chocolate bar, it's Snickers and Maltesers, and you've got the Nerds, and you've got all the fruit pastels and all the, Opal fruits and all them. They're weapons, bro. But they're everywhere, mate, all around the world. It's actually easier to get that than organic raspberries. I've got to hunt out raw organic raspberries every city I go in. I can go anywhere in any direction within 5 minutes. I'm going to walk to a shop where I can get all that toxic, man-made products. It's not real. We've got to build a factory and make machines to create them products. And then products are like 20 pence, 30 pence, and organic raspberries are £5. So we're living in a system where the temptation and the toxic weaponry for our bodies physically and our mind with the television and the magazines is everywhere. And from the age of 0, bro, because you're already affected by your parents who are in the same system. My mum and dad are amazing. I've got the best family you could imagine, mate. But the man I am now and how I reflect on this, they taught me some bad lessons. They didn't tell me anything about nutrition, for example. And I think nutrition is the single most powerful thing we can really invest in. That's the biggest magic spell of all, is nutrition, what you choose to put in your own body. It's the only thing you put in your own body is food. There's nothing more powerful than the show to God of what you choose to eat. That shows who you truly are, what you choose to eat and what you truly believe in and how disciplined you truly are. And my parents taught me nothing about that. I was eating very poor nutrition when I was younger, but it's not that they didn't love me. My mum and dad wanted the best for me. They just were conditioned in a system where they haven't been told about nutrition either. Their school system was the same as my school system. The school doesn't tell you anything about nutrition. School meals are terrible, bro. Terrible,
oh,
mate.
Mate, school meals are
mate.
horrendous. Like
Hospital food's terrible, mate.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's the system's purposefully, mate. It's not done by accident. This is intentional. This.
So it was interesting you shared that with your parents and your upbringing, and how you had an amazing upbringing, but there were certain things which you didn't realize because they were in a certain program. So to create world peace, we're gonna need to wake a lot of people up to these truths that we are actually the creators of our own realities. We choose what we put in our body, setting up our environment so it's in a way where it's conducive of world peace and the living the life that we want to live. How do we awaken billions of people so that people actually realize they don't need to follow a certain program? They can choose their own program, one more in alignment from the heart.
Take responsibility for your own life, mate. This is it. Like, we are all powerful beings, bro. And when you're not living in alignment with this higher truth, you're not truly happy and healthy, mate. And you'll know it already. You'll have things in your body. You'll have down days. You'll have headaches. You'll have tiredness. You won't feel fully satisfied. You'll feel like there's something missing from your life until you connect to God. This is connecting to God. And I'm not religious, bro. I'm not religious in the sense of a religion. I'm religious in the sense of, like, nature's my God. My body's my God. The trees are my God. The animals, the sun's my God. This miraculous, beautiful system we're part of is my God. And you can align with that and connect with that every day, through where you live and what you choose to eat and things like that, and what you choose to believe and prayer and stuff like that. So I've been thinking about this for 15 years and applying it. And actually it goes back to the first question, how I became a health coach. I started applying this on such an obsessive level that I'm a really energized, empowered, positive, healthy, strong, sexy man in terms of, like, I'll take my top off, mate, and I'm in really good shape. Because, mate, to be authentic to building world peace, mate, I've got to show my body maximum amount of love. That's step one, mate. Step one in this building world peace is show yourself world peace. You've got to figure out what that means. How do you show yourself world peace? And I broke it down to 4 principles, and this is what I factor into my health coaching, which is, bro, it's super efficient, mate. I've trained with so many people now, and all I need is 1 month with them, mate. Without that, I have this conversation with them. And this conversation, like, you don't need books and science to prove it. There's something inside someone's heart that go, that makes sense. We shouldn't be bombing other people. We shouldn't be cutting rainforests down. We shouldn't be throwing plastics in the oceans. McDonald's is pretty toxic business. I don't need a book to say how many people McDonald's have been contributed to killing, how many rainforests, how many animals they kill every day. I could back it up with science, but the stuff I talk about is like common sense. It can't be science-backed, this narrative, mate. It's got to be something where people can understand it if they're very uneducated. It's got to be a global message, this, mate. You know what I mean? So it's in kingdom of heaven is within every man. So I broke it down to 4 principles that work magic, mate. And the 4 commonsensical principles, mate. And I call it the N.E.S.T principle. And I've seen when people really commit to these 4 things, mate, for only a month, mate, that they become such a healthier being that they start having healthier thoughts. And this is what happened to me. When I took responsibility for my own health, and I didn't realize at the time, but I stopped drinking because I was suicidal, so I had to stop drinking. I started thinking, well, the food isn't working for me. I'm just eating for protein. And to be honest with you, I always loved animals. I always loved animals. And when I thought, well, I'm eating animals, I'm not living in alignment with how I feel and how I think. And veganism actually accidentally came into my life when I was living in the ashram in India, where I lived in a place where you didn't speak for like 2 weeks. And they fed me vegan food every day, and the food was epic. And I was like, I didn't know this was even a thing. And it was like curries and lentils and salads and just amazing fruit salads. And then I looked into it, and there's 80,000 edible plants. And I thought, oh, well, that's infinite variation of taste that within 80,000 combination. So many variation on your passcode of your phone of like 10 digits, because zeros are one as well, 1 to 9 and 0. And you can do that. And there's so many variations within that's what your bank card and your phones think. 80,000 variations, bro. That's infinity. And I thought there's 80,000 edible plants. I didn't know that. So I thought, I'm just going to go for this veganism for a while. And it just changed my life, that one. So back to the 4 areas that I think to change the world, you change yourself, bro. If you can raise the vibration, or let's call it the health, mate, they're the same things. People talk about vibration, which is spiritual. You can talk about health, which is not spiritual. Well, it is, but the word's health isn't spiritual. So I could have a week where I'm drinking alcohol every night. I'm eating fucking deep pan pizza. I'm just watching the TV. I'm eating crap food. I'm not doing anything. I'm being lazy. At the end of the week, drinking alcohol, eating crap food, I'm going to look and feel bad. My health that week's gone down. If I have a week where I'm out praying to God every day, eating organic fruits and vegetables, the best food I can source, going to the gym, I'm sweating, I'm going to bed early, sleeping really well, waking up fully energized. At the end of the week, I'll look a bit better. That week, I'll look probably rough in the mirror. That week, I'll probably look and feel better in the mirror, which shows you've got a control over what you do, over your energy, your health, your vibration. I've seen when you raise the vibration authentically of a human being, they start thinking more positive ways. So upon my reflection of my journey, I started thinking about world peace when I was living in nature, eating only fruit mostly, training every day with rocks, running on the beach every day, going to bed early because there was nothing else to do, sleeping well because there was nothing to get up for, having free time, reading a book every day, being a free man, being healthy, happy, and at peace. I was healthy, happy, and at peace and free. When I was in that state, I thought more positive things. But they weren't the four things. They are the four things I chase.
The N.E.S.T, yeah.
So the N.E.S.T principle, which is what I teach in my health coaching. Thank you for bringing me back to that, mate.
Right,
the 4 areas, and these are the big dogs, mate. These are the commonsensical things, and these are the things that can change your life that are obvious. Nutrition, exercise, sleep, and toxins. So what I do in my coaching, mate, I say to you, on a scale from 1 to 10, how good is your nutrition today and yesterday and recently? And you'll give me whatever. You go, well, probably 7. I'm going, right, what we got to do to get that to an 8? What you got to do less of and more of? So it's more like, well, stop eating the bread and the microwave pizzas I'm having and eat 4 organic apples every day. I'm like, right, we'll do that for 1 week. Next week, I want you to get to an 8. And I say, exercise on a scale of 0 to 10. How well are you exercising? Do you know you're getting fitter, healthier, stronger, more flexible? Every day, every week. Are you expand? It's about expansion, mate. It's about expansion. True health is expansive in nature, and you know when that's happening. You can feel it. Exercising. Are you expanding? What's your exercise like? Well, I'm going quite a lot. 7. Okay. What we got to do to get that 8? I could probably do a little 10-minute run at the end of each of our workouts. I'm like, right, let's do that this week. Sleep. How well are you sleeping? There's usually I've found doing this, mate, people struggle with sleep more often than me. I go to bed at 11 o'clock, I'm asleep, and I wake up at like 7 the next day, and I'm awake, and I don't set an alarm, and I love it. It feels so energizing, and it just brings so much positivity and energy and vitality to my life. My sleep is essential, and I love it, and it's just locked in. The routine of it is locked in, and the routine's key. And I ask them, how well is that? So, okay, we're going to get that to an 8. And it's usually I've got to give them suggestions for that one. They don't know why they're not sleeping. And then the last one is toxins. And to be honest with you, this is probably one of the biggest ones. What things are you doing knowingly that are toxic that you're doing to your own body, eating, drinking, or rubbing on? Usually they know some stuff, and it's usually alcohol, cigarettes, drugs, shit food is usually that one, mate. And when you're talking about toxic, mate, it's an addiction. If they're doing it regularly, whether they enjoy it or not, it's an addiction, bro. Anything that you're doing regularly and kind of can't stop that is negative for your body is an addiction. That's what an addiction actually is. Most people have got a lot of addictions and don't even know it or realize it or admit to it. That's the one I've got to work with the most, mate, the toxins, the addictions, and it's usually one of the same 4 or 5 culprits.
And how do you break that?
Say, okay, alcohol. Tell me what you're drinking. Well, I go out every weekend. Do you think for 1 weekend this week, you can stay in and have a movie night with you and your girlfriend and just stay in? Do you think this weekend you can come to my Rise and Shine sober party instead of going out with your mates and getting drunk? For this one week when I can do that. Let's start there. Next week, do you think you can have 2 weekends off? Then next one, do you think you could do, this is a big one. If they can do this one, mate, this is a big one. Can you do 1 month without alcohol? Oh, that's the one that I struggle with, mate. That's the one that points out whether you're addicted and when they realize whether they're addicted or not, mate. Because if you can't do 1 month without something, it's an addiction. Like a lot of people are addicted to alcohol. Most people are functioning alcoholics and they don't even realize it, mate. Where they couldn't imagine going 1 month without at least 1 or 2 glasses. I'm only having 1 or 2. I'm like, that's the addiction. I'm like, can you go 1 month without that even 1 or 2? Well, 1 or 2 is not going to harm me. And they'll start arguing why they can't without realizing they're defending it. You know, and that's actually an energetic demon, bro. They're doing the arguing, not even them.
Yeah, this is why things like your rise and shine are so important though, right? Because I believe like any behavior, any addictive behavior, say like alcohol, it's not just the alcohol, drinking it, it's all the things that come with the alcohol. That's what is very easy to get sucked into. It's like the connection you get, right? If I go out and I go partying, which is not my thing. It used to be when I was younger. But there's a connection element. Like you meet up with your mates. Also you can feel like an element of significance when you're drinking, like who can drink the most, like you look cool in front of your friends. Like there's also like a sense of if you've had a really busy week, suddenly you drink at the weekend and it kind of like relaxes you into your system. So it's like, and if there's not ways to create that outside of alcohol, I can see why people continue to do it. Whereas like something like Rise and Shine, where you rock up and then you still get the connection. It's like, well, suddenly you don't need the alcohol for connection because I've got a cacao or I've got a sparkling water or a still water. Yeah. And you're connecting with like-minded people. You know, at the same time as having fun, you know, suddenly you don't need the alcohol because you've replaced the thing that you were getting from the nights out with something else. But I think the problem is if someone just tries to give something up and not have, it's not just the actual thing they're giving up, it's all the things that are attached to it too. So you have to find another way that they can sort of get those extra bits.
Well, I've had vast experience within the alcohol world, mate, on a personal level and a business level. You know, where I've done everything within that realm, from drinking a little bit to drinking a lot, to drinking loads, to drinking more than the body could even handle for days. You know, and not only that, I've seen it over and over again. When I used to go to the parties, I used to observe people that I know. 1,000 people used to come to my alcohol parties, and I used to know a large portion of them over 10 years, mate. So that's a lot of people. And I saw some of the coolest people go fucking crazy, mate, on alcohol. You know, I saw the nicest, most quiet, chilled out, sweet, soft girls turn mental on alcohol. You know, even towards when I was coming towards the end of my journey, where I was like, I don't think I can do any alcohol, but like, drink alcohol anymore. But I've created this business. I used to go to my parties sober in the 12-hour-long parties. I used to be the first there and the last to leave, so I could observe 1,000 people sober of what alcohol did to people. So not only have I felt all extremes of alcohol, I've seen it on quite a profound level.
Yeah.
You know, so I've observed what alcohol does, mate. And what do you want to say something?
Yeah, I was just going to say, it's dark. Like, you know, it's dark. The things that alcohol, you end up doing on alcohol, it's kind of like so minimized. Like it takes the rational thought away and suddenly you end up doing stuff that you'd never do sober. But then it's crazy how that is pushed in society where that's normal. I do feel like there's a big shift now.
Definitely.
But yeah, the alcohol is on the whole is
it's a black magic spell. It's a black magic spell, mate. That's why I'm looking to address it because I've seen and experienced, bro. When you're saying you do the worst things on alcohol, I've done the worst things in my life as a man on alcohol that I'm very embarrassed of. And it led me to suicidal depression. It was probably the main contributor that made me nearly kill my beautiful self. I felt and seen the darkest sides of alcohol. When I say that, mate, as much as anyone could have on the planet, it's horrific. I've been immersed in it, witnessed it, heard it of other people, you know, I've heard it all, mate. What you were saying is that, you know, we'll like to go out and see our friends, you know, and you don't know what else to do. Pubbing and clubbing and what that actually entails is the most sacred things that we all love to do as a species, that we've loved to do from the start of time. That is essential to the human spirit. And that's socializing, networking, dancing and moving as a tribe, you know, everyone to the same tune and you're all in the same energy. You know, you're not speaking that much. That's an ancient practice, that, bro. We've been doing it around the fire with the drums, still doing it in the tribes now, mate. Dressing up smart, feeling better, having a release, feeling free. You're not really thinking about work in that environment, you know. They're all sacred things that the human body and the human spirit loves and needs, bro. And what they've done is hijacked it with alcohol and drugs. So you're doing things that every weekend because you love to do it, and your whole ancestral lineage has done it since the start of time, and they've put the most poisonous substances within it. So it makes that sacred gathering a negative experience, downward spiral experience where you go to something that's sacred and needed for your body, and you're leaving more poisoned than you went. Which what I've done, which is why I know it's one of my purposes, because I had massive amounts of experience with parties And now my passion is health and wellness for myself and the planet. And I've combined my experience with my passion. And now I create what I call upward spiral parties. And all I've had to do that is not much apart from remove the alcohol and drugs and put in healthy drinks, smoothies, juices, coconuts, kombucha, drinks that are positive and energizing and good for your body. So you come to my parties and you leave feeling more energized, more empowered and healthier than you came. And that's the way they should have always been parties, mate. That's pubbing and clubbing, what we call pubbing and clubbing parties. That's what they should have always been. That's what they are. Come around the fire as a tribe and let's have a good time together. That's good for us. We'll go away feeling good again, and get on with the rest of the week in a good, energized way. Not like, oh my God, I feel terrible. Literally being sick and fighting other people. That's the lowest frequency of what parties can be. Being sick. Doing 50% of all crime is alcohol related, mate. One of the people with an equation about crime is usually drunk or under the influence of drink. I become aggressive. I become perverted, bro. I look at women in a disrespectful way and I think about just sex and things like that. When I get drunk, that was one of my patterns, mate. I would be more open to stealing something and having a laugh, going behind the bar and stealing a bottle of vodka. I'd be open to having a fight. If someone called me a name, I'll just fight them straight away. And if someone calls me a name, I'll be like, all right, cool. It just doesn't bother me. Do you want to talk about that or do you not want to talk about that? Why do you think I'm that? You know what I mean? Like the man I am at the minute, when I'm drunk, I'm like, who do you think you are? And a lower frequency version of yourself comes out, and we are addicted to alcohol on a global level, bro. And I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not like, let's stop all alcohol and make it illegal. I'm like, we could keep it here if we want. If that's what you want to do, genuinely, let's do it. But let's offer an alternative that is definitely healthier and explore that individually and as a species. We've got that side, which is definitely unhealthy and toxic and causing major problems. If you want to do that, fucking do it. It's your life. Try not to if you're affecting other people negative, but within that realm, you're going to infect other people negative as well. But alcohol is such a loved thing that I wouldn't fight for it to be illegal. I'll be like, what I am absolutely for is creating an alternative direction, which is the opposite of that on a health level, which is what I'm doing. And say, if you love that, just come and try one or two of these and see how you feel at the end. Because usually what happens, mate, they come and try mine and go, oh my God, that was amazing. The next day, they wake up and they go to the gym rather than being hungover in bed, feeling really bad, mate. Because everyone's had a hangover and you have a good night out at the pub and the club. But the next day when you've got a hangover, when your consciousness starts speaking, bro, you're like, oh, I'm not doing that again. Everyone's had that thought. Oh, man, when you're hungover, like, oh, why did I do that? Oh, I don't like the way I'm feeling this. That's your body talking to you, mate. We've lost the ability we've lost the ability to be able to listen to the communication of our own body. And our body is communicating with us 24/7 through thoughts, feelings, and emotions. And a hangover is your body communicating to you. And at the age of 30, when I got suicidal depression, I realized it was my body communicating with me. It wasn't a thing that happened to me. It was something I'd done to myself. I didn't catch it. It was something I'd done to myself, and I contributed myself by not paying attention to my signs my body had been continuously giving me. So at the age of 30, what I decided to do is start listening to the things that were positive, exciting, optimistic, healthy, give my body energy, give my body joy, give my body happiness.
And how did you make that shift?
Just pay attention, bro. I had the motivation knowing that the other direction was wanting to kill yourself, and I didn't want that to be my reality. So usually when someone gets a cancer, it makes them look at health for the first time in their life.
Yes, yeah.
Usually the lowest times can be your biggest opportunities. And the way human nature is, us stupid humans, it tends to be us silly humans. We do silly things, bro. We're a funny species. We usually wait to that moment of time to go, right, I'm going to change now. When we're like literally on death's door. You don't have to, and it's not always the case. But for me, it was. So I had that as motivation going, right, I'm just going to become a different man now because I don't want to kill myself. I've got a good life. I'm actually really blessed. It's because I was poisoning my body and my body didn't feel good was why I felt that way.
And what do you think was driving those behaviors of drinking and, sleeping around and in those club promoter days? Yeah, what was driving those behaviors?
Well, when I go to the core of it, mate, because I've had therapy, I've had a lot of therapy on this journey. It's part of the journey. You've got to have therapy, mate. You've got to hear the wisdom of some advanced human beings. You can call it therapy when you give them money, but you can call it just chatting to mates as well.
Yeah, of course.
Naturally on this journey to being wanting to be a better person, if that's genuinely what you want. A lot of it comes from yourself, but it comes from others as well. That's how it works. because you've got to connect with others. This is a collective thing I'm talking about here, where we're all helping heal each other. We'll all become one family, and we hold hands and we create a better world together. That comes from you and others. So I've traced it back to I got bullied heavily at school, mate. Really heavy at school. I was like what you would call an ugly looking child, or had a funny looking face, mate. I had really bad teeth. I pointed in all directions, going from all my gums in all directions, and I had a big mouth. I still got a big mouth, but I find it lovely now. Whereas when I was younger, I was really conscious about it. I've got big lips. When I was younger, big lips with a big gums and big mouth and teeth all over the place. Didn't look good. My mom and dad used to give us a skinhead, no hair. And I kind of got a bit sticky out ears as well. So when I lose my hair, mate, my features look more extreme. So I got bullied heavily, mate, at school, where it would really upset me. And I felt ugly, mate. I got told I was ugly regularly, by bullies, mate. And I felt ugly growing up, and I was really insecure. So I wanted to do anything that made me feel a bit better. Then I went to the gym. So that's why one of the reasons I started going to the gym. I thought, I can't change my face, but I can change my body.
At what age was this?
Fucking instantly, bro.
Right, young.
16th birthday. My dad wouldn't take us until my 16th birthday. My dad took us on my 16th birthday for my birthday present because I'd been mentioning it so much. Dad was a big, muscly man. Like, Dad, take us to the gym. And on my 16th birthday, and I haven't stopped. I haven't stopped going to the gym. I've been going to the gym and training, exercise and running, swimming. I'm an unbelievable swimmer, unbelievable runner. I'm really into yoga now. I love strength training, weight training, calisthenics, functional training, HIIT training, all that stuff.
So like the drinking and the going out and all that, you think was driven by when you were younger?
Combination of that, and that's what everyone does in society, bro.
Yeah,
that's the norm. That's the magnet of the cities that we live in that you get attracted to most of the time, because what else do you do at the weekend? You go out and get drunk and try and pull a girl. And that's what everyone's doing, and that's a cool thing to do, and that's how you get respect from your mates. And also, every girl I pulled, I felt a little bit more attractive.
Yeah.
It healed a little
validation.
Validation, mate. So it was a combination of being bullied and wanting to feel more attractive. And, when I was drinking, I was a bit more confident. I could chat to girls, and I realized, I could chat to girls. Girls do fancy me. I'm not ugly to everyone. And every girl I slept with, I felt a little bit less ugly. And then that got a bit out of control over a while, mate. That's sort of like, and then the kind of addictive side to it as well, like what's what me and my mates did. My mates would go out and drink. I'd go out the weekend with my mates, went to a football match, would get drunk. We'd go to a birthday party, we'd get drunk. When I stopped drinking, my whole social, not only because of my friends, but also because of the business I created, the hardest thing for me to stop drinking was the social side of it. Like, everything in my life changed. I had to build a whole new life, build whole new businesses, mate. I was making very good money off that. And that was really hard, mate. So a lot of the thing is that a lot of your friends and a lot of things you do is just drinking. So one of the things you've got to actually do is get new hobbies and things like that, which is a positive thing. Looking at more creative practices, even reading book, doing yoga, going for a run, doing some art, an instrument, just do something that replaces the time, or even rest. But a lot of people find it hard just to rest.
Yeah.
Because they feel guilty that they should be doing something with the time and energy, which is understandable given the way the world is, that a lot of people are like pretty skint. Like, the system sucks money out of the majority of people where they've just got enough money, and that when you sit and rest and you're like, oh shit, I should be working really to try and make a bit more money. So that's another hard practice is resting. Fully resting is actually quite a hard practice for a lot of people, which I've spoke about in my in the health coaching I do. People feel guilty not to do anything. It's a societal thing, mate, and it's managed and it's pushed. The pandemic was pushed, bro, with a lot of money, a lot of scientists, a lot of case studies, media, guilt tripping people. You're going to kill people if you don't have the vaccine, literally using that language. Alcohol is pushed. These toxic things that excuse me. These toxic things that people are addicted to are managed and backed with billions, if not trillions of pounds to market and push to us to keep us addicted to it. So we're locked into a lower frequency. So we're living in the world where we think it's all right to kill children and bomb children just because they're a different whatever. You know what I mean? So this is all done with intention, mate. This system's been in place for a long, long time, and it's managed by the richest, most powerful people. And that's becoming more obvious now. And the governments are owned by these people. The media is owned by these people. School systems are, as I said, it's all owned by these mega rich, mate. So it's really hard to get away from the little products that they've created with all their infinite money that are designed to be addictive. So it's quite hard to get away from that. But I've seen you can either cold turkey it, which some people prefer that, depends the type of human you are, or you can do a process of building up, of getting to a 7 to an 8 with the nutrition, exercise, sleep, and toxins, and week by week. And it's good when you've got someone supporting you. And what is really effective, like people pay me money. So when someone gives me money to do that, they're like, well, I've got to do it even more now because I've paid them money, so waste the money if not. So that money's a really big motivator. So me holding them accountable, me supporting them, saying, you can do this, I believe in you. Me sending meditations that help me on my process when I know exactly where they're at on their process. And also them giving me money or things that are able throughout time to break all them things, mate. And people want this, mate. This is what everyone's seeking. We're all seeking to live in a healthy, positive, feeling good body. That's all what we want. We want happiness. We want to feel at peace. We want to feel comfortable. We want to feel loved. Want to feel enjoy our lives. Be passion orientated, not job orientated. We're all the same human, really, mate. We're all seeking the same things, and this is what I'm talking about. Like becoming living a really healthy body, which is such a nice thing to do, mate. Really living a really healthy body, mate. And then your purpose has got to be in alignment with making the world a better place. That's what gets you the biggest job rewards as such, is knowing you're having a positive impact on the planet. That's your highest calling. I find when people find that side of their life, it brings a high level of achievement and satisfaction that you don't get when you're just chasing money. You might be successful chasing money, but there'll always be something in you. I just think something missing from my life. I don't know what it is, but I don't. And that's why they try to get from 1 million to 10 million. That's why they try to go to the next level. Well, maybe it's just because I haven't got that and he's got that. He's flying around in a helicopter, him. You know what I mean? And it kind of like goes on forever, that journey. You know what I mean? Because you get there.
So what do you see is the switch from like profit orientated in business, and then also from the society where money is the thing which sort of differentiates society? Where do you think the shift moves in a world with world peace? How would society be laid out if money wasn't the thing? Because I do agree with when it comes to money, I see money as like a resource. Is a way where we can operate in society, but I also see the perspective where it's can be used just for pure greed, where someone's got so much and then they're just using it for themselves. Whereas I see money as an opportunity to give back to others, give to meaningful causes. But it is just, money is only a thing because of the way society is laid out. Like really, it's just a made up concept, right?
Definitely. Yeah.
So without money, you take that away. What do you think is the currency?
So I think like right now, in the world we're currently living in, money is essential. Well, obviously it's essential. It's the lubrication of this system we've created. I love money. It's welcome into my life as much as it wants to come in. With that money, I will have a nice life for myself. And with whatever I've got spare, I'll invest into making the world a better place. And God is my witness. That's how I've been living for a while. Beyond that, what I envision is that. So I would still do sober parties, mate. I don't make a lot. I used to make a lot more money off the alcohol parties. A lot more money. I make a bit of money that keeps me going off the sober parties. But I love them and I think they're essential. And if world peace was here and I wasn't making any money and we all were sorted for house, food and whatever we all needed, I would still do the sober parties. The other thing I would do, which I don't do now because I don't live in a house. I live from month to month, moving around the world. I would love to do gardening, mate. I love, my favorite passion of all passions is actually gardening. I love planting trees and watering trees and watching how they grow. I love seeing a new leaf grow on a tree. I find it beautiful when you come one day and you go, oh, that's got a new leaf there. And just the way it comes out differently on each plant, I love it, bro. So in a system where I'm free and I don't have to worry about making money, I would garden for the food for the rest of the people to eat. I think God sends humans to the planet, and if we all tap into ourselves, you'll still have the artists, you'll still have the gardeners, you still have the people who like making food for people, you'll still have the people who do all that. And when we're getting technology coming along on the level we have now, You know, you're going to get technology that's going to do other jobs that would just nobody wants to do. If there's not, but I still think there's going to be people who like to drive buses or whatever we want. There'll still be people who like to fly the airplanes. Human have got some human. You've seen some of the geeky train spotters. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they're train spotters. You ain't stopping them spotting the trains. And there's not very many of them, mate. But there's still the ones that are like that. Love that stuff, mate. I watch a train spot on YouTube and he just gets so excited, bro, of seeing certain trains, and he knows exactly what every train is. He would drive trains, bro. There'll always be a human here when you let them be fully free that'll want to do the job that needs doing. To be honest with you, mate, even a job that I didn't want to do, if I knew it was going to have a positive impact on a community, I'll do it. I'll do that for 5 hours every day for a month, just to help out that community. I'll take a bit of a hit. I don't mind doing whatever. I'll clean the floors. So like even cleaning floors, mate, because of the exercise moving into it, like mopping or shoveling. I love shoveling, mate. I love shoveling. It's quite a hard job, but I love the exercise side of it. Mopping the floor, I actually enjoy that movement, mate. My mom loves cleaning the house. My mom, she loves it. She says, no, I genuinely love cleaning the house. You'll always, when you release money, mate, we'll be better at managing the world than we are currently now. People are doing jobs they don't really want to do and it's sucking the soul out of them just to make money. So in world peace, bro, I think we're gonna find people who want to do the things that need doing even more so. I say us all just having a little home, all us having food, you know, all us coming from the same place, which the current legal system, mate, is books upon books, thick books, bro, that you and I wouldn't understand, but are different in every country. We need to simplify that, mate. And I think the only law we need is one law and one rule only to start off. Maybe there's one a few more in there. The 10 Commandments are actually really good, mate. They're really good, simple laws, but you even need just one. The only one I believe you need that would create a better world and would work for everyone. Everyone would understand. It's not complicated and can never be changed and would always have a positive impact is do no harm. That's the only law we really need that would shift everything for everyone instantly. You know, so when I'm talking about like, well, what would world peace actually look like? It's these simple little things, you know? And also I've found people go, yeah, when you've got nothing to do, people would just get lazy though. I'm like, when you have a healthy human body, I cannot be lazy, mate. I might once every couple of weeks, you know, I might sit in front of the TV and watch a Netflix or two. But I've got so much energy in my body, mate. I as you know, our personal trainer, Sam, we go to the gym together. I love exercising, mate. I feel my body so right that I love getting out of bed and doing stuff. I love going to business meetings. I love going for a run on the beach. You know, I love doing them things. When you heal the human body, no one's going to be lazy, mate. People are going to be very keen to do what needs doing. I've got a house now and I've got fed. Thank you for that. I've got no stresses left in my life. My family are sorted. My family aren't getting bombed. My family got food. I don't have to worry about going to work. How can I help you? You've done that for me. What do you need doing? Yeah, I'll fix that. Yeah, I'll build that. You know what I mean? And it's like, it's right there now, mate. But how I see it happening is we're all taking radical responsibility for our own lives and start looking at our actions and the impact that it's having on our life and the world at large, bro. I speak to a lot of beautiful men, a lot of beautiful women that are quite advanced and doing cool things. And I ask them, are you paying attention to the impact you're having on the world? You know, and a lot more people than I'm comfortable with, actually. And this is the narrative I'm trying to start in people's consciousness and actually in person, is most people aren't looking at the impact they're having on the larger reality. So I know a lot of successful men are just buying houses here in Bali because that's a cool thing to do. I'm like, yeah, but that's not positively impacting the world. That's just positively impacting your bank balance. You know, you're not really having a positive impact in the world. You're actually having a negative impact in the world. And I understand why they're doing that in the world we're currently living in. But that's the leap of faith and the jolt that some of us are going to start taking and I've taken, you know, which I can say is actually a lot healthier and a lot more satisfying for the human soul. You know,
I suppose there's this balance between operating inside of the society that we have now,
definitely,
but then also moving towards, you know, a new thing. Because, for example, like in society we have now, if you don't have money, then money is a resource where you can actually do good. Like there's such a good feeling when you go out and you just meet someone at random and you're able to just gift them something.
Definitely,
just from a beautiful place.
Yeah.
And then they're like, thank you. And you never know what's going on for them internally at that moment where you were able to, you know, give a gift. And the Balinese are beautiful with that, right? Where they're like, thank you so much, so appreciative. So it's like operating in society where we actually have built your wealth machine so that you can do good in today's society, but then also have this new world that we're moving towards. Like, how do you get that balance between operating in today's world and then also creating this new world?
Mate, it's really amazing that you said that, because for you to pull that from what I've been saying is absolute. I absolutely agree with it. So how I envision it, mate, is you've got to be a kind of like very good. I was going to say master, but that's a bit of an egotistical term. But you've got to be a master of the third dimensional reality, which is the business reality, and the fifth dimensional reality, which is the energetic world peace reality. You've got to be good at doing that world and that world at the same time, mate. And you've got to surf them. It's like your surfboard's split in two, and you've got to be good at surfing both of them at the same time to be a fully efficient person that's driving positive change, mate. And how you do that is however you can do it. My way will be different way, your way. If you've got that in your head, knowing you've just got to keep progressing in your timeline with that in your mind every day a little bit. And whatever will happen for you will be different to me. But you've got to be good at money, mate. Money's essential and kind of needed, but not fully needed. So, for example, Gandhi. Yeah. Gandhi was a poor farmer, mate, and look at the change he created. But it is a massive resource if you can use money, mate. The more money I've got, the more effective I can definitely be, mate, in the systems I'm currently operating.
Yeah.
You know, so money helps, mate.
The way the society is laid out. You know,
the current system.
The current system, yeah.
The dominant system, the more money you got, the better you are going to be at doing this, definitely. The three areas we're all creating creating change every day, whether we want to or not, because we're alive on this planet, and it doesn't matter how much money you've got, is what you're doing with your time and energy, which usually means job, but not always. What you're doing with your time and energy every day, what you buy, and what you eat. They're the three areas, mate, I always encourage people to look on, where I'm saying, like, what you're doing, what impact are you having on the larger reality? They're the three things that'll uncover it. Are you paying attention to what you do with your time and energy? Is the job you're working for, is it McDonald's? Or is it some guy Tungi Watch where they're picking up plastics from the oceans? What's that called?
I'm not sure, bro.
There's a beautiful thing here in Bali. There's a lot of things in Bali where they go in the rivers and the seas and on the beaches and they pick up plastic. And I love that. It's got a funny name. That's why I can never say it, mate. Right. What you're doing with your time and energy every day, are you having a positive impact or negative impact with your job? If you're not working a job, with your time and energy. What you're buying. A lot of people buy things that we don't actually need, really. You know, products. All of them products have a negative impact on the world coming into reality because they're made in a factory and getting transported here. How much can you pull back on that? And this is the big dog, bro. What you eat is the biggest magic spell of all magic spells of how you impact your body and the earth itself every time you eat something. It's the only thing in this whole reality you choose to put from the external world into your internal world through intention and action that becomes your whole system. You become what you eat, mate. You absorb and become the energy of what you eat. It's the biggest magic spell of all, and that's the one I'm really passionate about trying to inspire people to move in the direction of love, which is a really, really, there's always a lot of debate in this realm for me. But in my journey, I've become a plant-based.
Yeah.
You know, and that because every time you pull a strawberry, nearly every time two grow in its place. So the more strawberries I eat, the more strawberries there are for all of the humans, and more strawberry bushes we've got to have for the earth and for the air. You know, when I eat a banana from the banana tree grows quicker. You know, and when I think, well, how does a banana or a strawberry come into creation? This is how do you impact the bigger reality is how does it come into creation? So on one side of the nutritional plant-based sort of spectrum, you see a little seed dropped to the earth, and then the rain hits it, and the sun hits it, and all of a sudden it changes from a seed to a little green sprout. And then the rain hits it more, and the earth loves it, and the sun hits it, and the sprout grows a new little leaf, which I love that process when you see what I was saying of the gardening. When you see a new leaf, you're like, oh my God, that's so beautiful. I love that stuff. And then it grows day by day, new leaves and new leaves. And all of a sudden a flower comes out, bro. This little new thing that you don't know what it is, and it opens into a flower. And you're like, whoa. And then a fucking bee comes and lands on the flower. And then the flower closes up and then reverses itself and then gives you a bit of fruit. And when you see how that come into creation, if you sat and watched that on a time lapse, you go, wow, that's miracle. That's positive. I can feel that's a positive thing. On the reverse side of that, if I went and sat in a slaughterhouse and I opened my senses and I watched and I listened and I smelled what was going on in the slaughterhouse, probably within 30 seconds, I'd be repulsed and probably want to cry and get out of there. That's the energy of your body telling you that's a positive thing, that's a negative thing. So I think the more trees and plants we bring into this realm and eat from them, 80,000 of them, is a positive thing, mate. And I think the more slaughterhouses we support, for me, a slaughterhouse is as close to hell. What I picture hell would be like when I visualize heaven, when I positive as I can. When I visualize hell, like the things I've seen from hell from movies and magazines is like literally people pinned against the wall, getting burnt alive, getting slit the throats, bits of the body cut off to them, torture. That's what happens in slaughterhouses. You know what I mean? And the animals' noises and energy that they give you will tell you they don't want to experience that shit, mate. They go through fear like us. You know what I mean? So on this journey to want to be an amazing man and creating world peace, when I picture heaven, bro, and I close my eyes, and I'm like, well, how would we treat animals in heaven? I'll be like, well, we'd stroke them, love them, feed them, play with them, make sure they were all right, make sure they were protected, make sure they were safe, love them. You know, and I'm like, well, that's just what I'm going to do now. And I'm going to bring heaven to earth on that level. What would we do in hell? Would rape them, slaughter them, cut them apart, burn them, kick them, punch them, hurt them, steal from them. And that's actually what we're doing on mass, mate. And I will not support that industry, and I will not support that type of action. And I don't want to be that man. I want to be a heavenly man. And that's how I think about everything. So if someone gives me a book and says, yeah, but it's got that much protein in, I'm like, I don't care what anything external can tell me about science anymore, because the truth is science has been hijacked. I can read one book on meat eating and I go, that's truth. I can read one book on plant-based, I go, 500 pages, and I've done this. That can be epic when I read that, and that can be epic, and they're completely opposite. You know, so I'm like, well, forget that external influence. Let's check in with the kingdom of heaven within, which is love, peace, Christ consciousness. What am I going to support? And in that moment, the answer becomes obvious. I'm like, well, that book. Forget that. I'm going to go with me, my heart, what God's telling me. You know, and that's the gauge I think we'll all need to start living from, of what impact am I having on this reality? Think about it yourself. Use your own mind and use your own heart, because the external world, television, media, school system has all been hijacked. It's all been hijacked by negative entities that don't care about you and I, that is willing to inject poisons into you and I, feed us the worst food, give your mom cancer, let her die in hospital without you saying goodbye to her because of this pandemic. That's the type of system that we're currently living in that needs changing as soon as possible, because there's warning signs there now, mate, that are loud and clear, that if we don't start operating from higher frequencies ourselves in our own lives every day, now, today, and tomorrow, and lock in that intention and action in our own lives, that we're facing a really horrific situation, you know? And you and I are blessed with that horrific situation that's kind of there, and the warning signs are there, not really in our lives. So it's easy for us just to live a life. You know, but we've all got to be aware of this now. We've got to be all aware of the greater reality. You know, we're becoming a global species now. That's what airplanes are. That's what internet is. You know, we're all one family on one planet called home. You know, we're all one family of humans and animals, bro. The animals are our family. They look after the planet for us. They look after the trees for us, bro. They're the technology that looks after everything for us. We just got to look after them. How we look after them is don't fucking kill them. You know what I mean? Stop destroying them, mate. So McDonald's, bro. McDonald's are the biggest culprits on planet Earth of ripping down the Amazonian rainforest to build more slaughterhouses for more Big Macs to feed the human race. That's how wrong we're operating. I don't need a science book or a case study or how many people they're employing and how much them people are getting paid to know, shut that book and comb my heart, go, that's not right. We don't want to be ripping the rainforest down, full stop. Let alone for a McDonald's, bro. Do you know what I mean? That's like the worst things we're going to be doing. And that's happening now today, bro. So I'm standing up for that however I can in my own reality, knowing I'm a Geordie from Newcastle. I haven't got loads of money. I'm not a billionaire. I'm not a millionaire, bro. But I'm doing what I can in my own life every day to drive positive change, picture heaven, and bring heaven to earth now for myself, my family and friends first and foremost, but very close behind that, everyone else. And very close behind that, all the animals as well, bro. And that's what the type of thing I think we need to start doing, because either I'll help co-create my world peace in my lifetime, which will be epic, mate. And I do think we're going to. That's what I'm locking into when I'm locked into that. Or the other result is I won't, but I'll die trying. And let me tell you, I fast-forwarded that timeline and I'll be a happy man. My soul will be like, well, I'll try to build world peace. That's the best thing I could do while I was here. That'll do me. So either timeline, either will succeed or we won't succeed. I'm happy either one, you know. But on that timeline also, the habits you've got to start taking on, you've got to take on truly, authentically healthy habits. You can't cheat this one. You know what I mean? So on that timeline, you become a healthier version of yourself where you're not thinking about killing yourself. You know, you're living in a fucking really good body that works well and fully energized and going to the gym and feeling good and looking good. You know what I mean? You've got a lot of energy. You're thinking positively. You're thinking optimistically 95% of the time. You know what I mean? Don't get me wrong. There's loads of challenges that are going to come your way. This is planet Earth. You know, I still had bad days. I still had major challenges. I still cried, bro. I'm still going through breakups where I'm crying, thinking, why isn't that relationship work? It's not still a perfect reality where my life's perfect. But overall, when I've got 30 years experience of eating meat, drinking alcohol regularly, to 15 years plant-based, trying to build world peace, drinking no alcohol, I can say hand on heart, and kind of obviously that lifestyle is way more beneficial and healthier, and I love it a lot more than that lifestyle. That's a lot more toxic and selfish, where this one's a lot more positive and thinking about the greater good, which is the narrative I live for, bro. As a man, what I do is go around, love people, be kind to people, listen to what they've got to say, and when there's an opportunity, start talking about the narrative of creating world peace, mate. Because not enough people are talking about it. I don't hear many people go talking about world peace. And I think we've got to start talking about world peace now, you know, because we're at a choice point, mate. And we've got the potential to create world peace now, mate. With the launch of AI, it can work now, bro. We can figure things out actually really easy. You know, we've just got to fucking come from a place of love and peace in our heart and desire of world peace and the intention of world peace and the action of world peace in heaven.
If someone's beautiful, bro. Like if someone's listening in and they've resonated with the message, how can they actually embody this in their day-to-day life? I know we've covered a fair few bits, like where someone can actually get some cool takeaways of what they can start doing. But just anything else that you feel would be helpful to someone who wants to start to embody more of this world peace self.
Case of doing it, mate. Figuring out what that actually means, like listening to what I've got to say, but checking in with themselves. You know, some really beautiful sacred practices of like meditation and journaling. Just see who you are. Reflect on where you are in your life. What do you believe in? You know, can you highlight any things that you're doing that aren't serving you that you think you could change now, and practice it for a week or a month to change it? You know, make them little changes that you know are definitely positive changes. There's a practice I do with Rise and Shine, where I get at the sober party I run, where I get just before the party goes, I get everyone to close their eyes and put their hand on their heart. And I say, in this heightened energetic space, I now invite you all to make one positive promise to yourself. Positive promise is something you know you can achieve that will either change your life, someone else's life, or the world itself in a positive way. It can be a small positive promise, or it can be a big positive promise, you know? And people go, well, I'll stop smoking, you know? Oh, well, I'll eat healthier. Oh, well, I'll go to the gym this week. Oh, well, I'll stop buying this. You know, and everyone's got that opportunity right now to make one positive promise to themselves today that they'll know will definitely have a positive impact. And if we all keep seeking and reflecting where we can keep making them changes, because when you're buying cigarettes, for example, not only are you poisoning your life and your body, you're supply and demand, bro. You're giving your money, which you've worked to manifest. You've put work energy and then you've manifested that. And you're giving that away and supporting a toxic industry. That's not just poisoning you, it's poisoning your friends and family and the earth itself.
By the way, I don't smoke cigarettes. It's just...
I wouldn't let him. Yeah, so but there's little positive promises you can make that not only have a positive impact on your life, but if something genuinely has a positive impact on your life or someone else's life, it always automatically has a positive impact on the world itself as well. When something's in alignment, it's in true alignment. That's why you can never be healthy if you're destroying the planet. When people are eating meat, I'm like, yeah, but the meat industry is highly toxic. So you might be getting more protein and bigger muscles, but you're destroying the planet in doing so. And therefore, it's not truly healthy.
And do you have that same belief even when it's like grass-fed, organic, the animals lived, a great life up until the point where they've passed? Like, what's your belief on that?
Well, there's obviously a scale.
Yeah.
So the most horrific sides of factory farming, which I'm sure everyone would agree on this one.
Horrific.
When I'm having this conversation, even the meat eaters who are obsessed in the carnivore diets are like, yeah, the factory farming industry is horrific. I'll be like, you're still supporting that though, because there will be, when they're on the aeroplanes or wherever they are, still buying that now and again. Do you know what I mean? That's the truth. They won't be eating grass-fed, factory farmed all the time because that's actually quite rare. So that's something to say. But mate, I'm going to bring it back to do no harm. We shouldn't be killing an animal for any reason if we don't really need to. We might kill it when it's 8 years old instead of when it's 12 years old or 11 years old, or we don't know where it's going to die. We're guessing when it's going to die and slaughtering it. And let me tell you, when that animal gets a ball through its head, it doesn't want it. Like, we haven't got that. We're just because we're the most advanced species doesn't mean to say we've got the right to kill everything else. But in the world we're currently living in, because it's a dog-eat-dog world, survival of the fittest, and we are actually living from a more satanic mindset. You know, Christ consciousness doesn't kill animal. Christ consciousness loves the animal. Do to others what you want done to yourself. You don't put a bolt to a head to a cow because that's what you do to yourself. Do what that will allows you to do that at any age, mate. You know, so yeah, most animals in the factory farming industry get killed when they're babies, before the first year of their life. That's what the factory farming industry is. A grass-fed cow might live till 8, but you don't know how long that cow is going to live. You're guessing. And at that moment of slaughter, you can't slaughter an animal in a nice way. And humane. Tell me how to slaughter something in a humane way. It's impossible. Slaughtering something cannot be humane. So I'm like, well, I don't need to kill that animal. Therefore, I'm just not going to. What I'm going to do is love the animal. And I get my nutrition. I've been plant-based for 15 years, and you will know firsthand how strong, fit, and healthy I am as a 44-year-old man. So I'm saying I'm living, my body works fine. I don't need that animal. Therefore, I'm not going to slaughter it. I'm actually going to love it. Because when I picture heaven on earth, we don't slaughter the grass-fed cows as well. We'll let them live to the last days of their life. And when they're dying, which will be obvious when they're dying, we'll do like we do with dogs. We sing to them when they're dying. We'll put flowers all around them. We thank them for being our friends in this lifetime. Thank you very much. Do you know what I mean? So I'm not for killing on any level, even the more nicer ways of killing. Because what I'm saying, nicer ways of killing. There's no nice way to kill, bro. There's no nice time to kill. You know what I mean? I kill your mom when she's 75 instead of when she's 80. You'd be like, you're not killing me, mom. Like, I literally love animals nearly as much as humans, mate. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I will put humans first, bro. If there was a choice between a human and an animal, I'd go kill a cow. I would. I'm a human. But just behind that, mate, I love animals, and I love animals. So when I'm saying kill your mom, I'm like, yeah, but go and kill a cow. I don't want to kill your mom. I don't want to kill a cow. I don't want to kill it. If I don't have to, if I've got to, kill a fucking cow. If I don't have to, eat the banana. And then the banana tree will grow quicker. Let that cow have a good time. Daisy's lovely. Watch her. She plays with that football every day. She's really sweet. Have you played with Daisy yet? Have you sat and chilled with Daisy because she'll move for you? You sing a song to Daisy. Her favorite song's this song. She sits down and goes to sleep every time you play that song. Daisy's cute. Get to know Daisy. She's got a little characteristics. She's got a little personality. Like, all animals have got little personalities, bro, as we're seeing more and more on YouTube now. You know, when humans connect to animals, I was like, wow, that crow lands on his shoulder every day and sings to him, and it's learning how to say his name. You know, the more we love the animals, the more can they connect with us, bro. And when I picture heaven on earth, we're actually interacting, loving animals, and they're actually helping us. We're helping them. They do random little things to help us, and we'll play with them. We'll have fun with them. And we'll actually make mates with them, as we do sometimes now. Some people say to me, I love dogs more than humans. And I get that.
Yeah.
Dogs, bro.
Mate, dogs are amazing.
Well, one of the reasons dogs are amazing is because we've connected with them more than any other animal on the planet.
Yeah.
If we connected with another animal, I guarantee amazing things would come from the dolphin or the monkey. Well, if they were as humanized, which is what we've done, brought them closer and closer and closer to us. So they used to be wolves, which they weren't amazing there, mate. They'd probably take your arm off if they had the chance then, mate. And some dogs still kill as well, bro, let me tell you that. You know what I mean? So, but the closer we bring them, the more we'll see more amazing things of them. And the dogs and cats are the two we've brought the closest to us. But I think any animal will bring close to us, which is what I'm talking about, mate, is the kingdom of heaven, is the Garden of Eden. I think we'll see some phenomenal, beautiful, exciting, fun, playful things with other animals, mate. And that's what I'm living for. So when you ask me about grass-fed cow, I'm like, no, don't kill them, mate. I'm doing no harm.
Yeah.
Just let's stop killing, full stop. No more killing. Everyone on planet Earth, stop killing. And if we do, that will benefit everyone. And it's really easy to understand that law. And it's obviously a natural positive law. Obviously, killing is the most negative action we can do for any reason. You know what I mean? So everyone, for 1 year, let's stop killing everyone. No more wars. War's gone instantly then, bro. Probably famine will go instantly then as well. And not just everyone, everything. Let's just stop killing everything for a while and see how that feels. Let's just experiment with it. If it doesn't feel good and do good things, let's just get back to it. But within a year of nobody killing anything, bro, that's world peace, bro. That's the start of world peace. So I'm not embodying anything that's got anything to do. I protect nature, bro. Every single bit of it.
Beautiful, bro. I appreciate your share. To finish off, if the person listening and they want to embody this message, what would be the 5 things that you just rapid fire, the 5 things that you'd recommend them doing to embody in more world peace and a healthy and powerful body?
May I've got to go back to my N.E.S.T principle, which is 4. So I'm going to have to throw a cheeky one on the end as well, which I've already got what it is as I ask myself.
Rapid fire.
So the rapid fire, nutrition, what are you eating? Eat the best, most positive, healthy foods you possibly can, whatever that means to you. Stop putting the shitty foods in your body.
Yeah.
Stop putting the chemicals in your body. You know, exercise, get out and do 3 or 4 hours exercise a week. I think there's 164 hours in a week or whatever it is, mate. You know, there's a lot of hours in a week, 4 or 5 hours of them. Exercise, move, run, find an exercise you love. There's so many different exercises you can do. Find one, do it with consistency because you love it. Don't be a lazy human. Sleep, get good at sleeping well. Find a routine, sleep well. Try not to set your alarm, bro. If I have to set my alarm for one day, I feel so tired that day. I never set my alarm anymore, mate. I've created a lifestyle where I don't have to and I really love it. Every now and again, I've got to set my alarm. The day I've got to set my alarm, which is like 3% of my life, that day I'm really tired. You know, most people have got to set the alarm for the job. Go to bed a bit earlier. Stop watching the TV. Go to bed a bit earlier. Sleep is an essential system, essential process for a fully vibrant human body. It'll make you feel better, look better, think better. Toxins, not just the foods, but look what things you're rubbing in your body, putting on your body. These shampoos, these moisturizing creams, these deodorants, bro. Toxic. They're going to be messing your system up. You know, they're going to be messing your system up. The foods you're eating is not even food, it's technology. Find out what's poisonous, which let me tell you, what is poisonous is made in a factory. What's not poisonous is what's grown from the earth. It's really easy to separate what's poisonous and not. If it's made in a factory, it's usually very poisonous because it's man-made. What's nature made, God made, is very healthy for the body. Yeah. You know? And the last one, number 5, which is not on my nest, is go and do things that you've never done before.
Nice.
Try new things. Go to different communities. Go to a sober party. There's an example, mate. You drink regularly. Just try it. Even if you're like, oh my God, that sounds so hippy-dippy and shit, or whatever your negative thing is about it. I'm just going to try it anyways. Try a dance class. Try a game of chess if you've never played chess before. You've never watched a black and white movie. Watch an old school black and white movie. You've never read a book. Read one book. Just read one book and see how it feels. Try new things. Explore this reality. Because I guarantee you'll find some things that'll change your life forever. So take them leaps of faith, become a new person, explore, experiment. So that would be number 5 that I just stuck on the end there, mate.
Love it, bro. I appreciate you sharing that. Like before we finish off the episode today, as a tradition on here, we've got the vault. And the vault, there's 10 mystery messages that are in there. And I'd love to gift you a message to see whether it resonates with you and what takeaway you have off the back of it. And then also each guest, they leave their own power message, their own mystery message with their name on it for a future guest. Because I believe with the 10 mystery messages and each guest who are adding in, like the future guests are going to get a powerful message at a time when they need it most. Right?
Bring it on.
Let's go. You ready?
Let's go, mystery message,
All
mate.
right.
Give me my mystery message, mate. I need it the most right now. Oh, mystery message. Oh, God above, all spirits, all beings of light and love, giving me the message I need to receive now to allow me to be a better man, to encourage me to take bigger steps in the direction of love and the direction of light. I'm open to receive a message of positivity, of encouragement, of motivation right now, and this is my message. I'm reading it out loud.
Yeah.
You can't take the old version of you into the next chapter. Release or remain, you decide. Unknown mystery message. So I guess what that means to me, mate, is that in an infinite cosmos, there's always room for improvement. I'm a brilliant version of myself today, and I'm proud of myself for where I'm at, and I'm purposefully expanding towards the light like a tree a little bit every day, but I can be more so tomorrow. So I'm always got to look for that expansion and leave my old self and grow into my new self every day. So I promise this person that I'm going to become a better person, and I'm going to leave the old version of myself that isn't serving me as much and replace it with a better version of myself week by week. That's the promise I'm making this person.
Beautiful, bro. Mate, thank you so much for coming on. I'm also going to pass you the book so you can add in your own
I'm ready.
mystery message.
I'm ready, mate.
We'll leave the show on that. So thank you so much to you for coming on and for sharing your wisdom. And yeah, and for obviously subscribe to this if you've enjoyed the episode today. Share it with someone who you feel like needs this message as well. And yeah, we'll see you on the next episode.
Thank you very much, Sam. Good luck with everything, bro. And let's build a better world together.
Let's go, brother.
The time is now, mate. I'm fully committed, and I invite other people to commit to being a better version of themselves right now, right here today, and grow a little bit more so tomorrow and get that path of trajectory locked down in a way they love that excites them and is actually really fun. So subscribe, guys, and we'll see you soon.
Amazing. Cheers, brother.